Man, those things are hard to push out of the way. I know what you guys are thinking. This is a movie, right? You couldn't be more wrong. Oh, let me just get into gear here. Oh, my lovely assistants. Woo. All right, thank you, ladies. We're here to talk to you about the disciplinary actions necessary for nursing absenteeism. This is a very important matter to nursing managers all over the place, and it's critical that you know the steps to take care of it.
Okay, Mrs. Batson. Well, it was good to see you, and I hope you start feeling better, and I'll see you in a follow-up in about 10 days, okay? Thank you. You're welcome.
Hey, Allie, how you doing this afternoon?
Good.
Hey, I've got something I need to talk to you about. Do you have a minute?
Yeah, I have like 30 minutes to my next patient.
Perfect. Let's just use this exam room.
Okay.
What I need to talk to you about is the issue we had a couple months ago. It's your absenteeism. I notice you've had 3 more absences in the last 4 weeks. That's becoming a bit of a problem.
Okay.
Notice how in this scene, the manager didn't waste any time. In this infraction, things were relatively straightforward, but sometimes things can be of a more complex nature. It's important, though, to keep your message absolutely clear.
Sorry I've been having to miss work, but all of a sudden my mother-in-law will call me and tell me she can't watch my son, and I have to have someone watch my son, and my ex and I don't get along, so when we don't get along, then my mother-in-law will cancel at the last minute, and I have no one else to watch my son.
In this scene, the manager allows the nurse to talk about the reasons behind her actions. This also allows the nurse to feel like she's part of the disciplinary process. It also shows that the manager's goals are focused on the nurse's success.
All right, well, unfortunately, this is a formal conversation. We've already had an informal conversation, which is more or less like a verbal warning.
Okay.
The formal conversation is the second step in the disciplinary process. And this will actually be a recorded document that goes in your employee file. But I don't want you to look at this as a punishment. We'll put together an action plan to help you solve the problem. It's not a reflection of you, but it's more to address the behavior.
Okay.
If you were to miss more work after this, the next step would be suspension without pay. And then if it goes beyond that, unfortunately, it would be termination. And we don't want that to happen because you're a valuable employee here. We appreciate what you do.
Okay.
Here the nursing manager explains what action is being taken, in this case a formal conversation. It's important for the manager to weigh any new information that's brought to the table for consideration, but not stray from planned discipline. It's important to allow the employee to talk and express their feelings and take this information to correct and modify their behaviors.
All right, now that we got the formality of why we're talking, I put together an action plan for you to help you help us solve this issue.
Okay.
What I did is I did a little research on child care, and I came up with 4 options that you might want to look into.
Okay.
First, you might want to check with several of the local child care facilities. I know that from when I had my kids, that they offer scholarships to those that might not have the income or be able to afford their services. So they're pretty good about evaluating that, and they don't want to advertise it, so you have to ask about it.
Okay.
Second, I want you to check out the Virginia Department of Social Services website. They have a program that basically gives you a certain amount of money depending upon your income and whether you qualify to help aid you in the cost of child care. That is something that you have to apply for on your own and then wait for a response and hear back from them.
All right.
Thirdly, there's Head Start. Now, Head Start is a federally funded daycare program that works predominantly with underprivileged children, but they have a good emphasis on education.
Okay.
They kind of charge basically based on your income, and there's they work with you on that as well. Finally, the fourth thing that we offer here at the clinic is an FSA, which is a flexible spending account. Are you familiar with those?
I remember hearing about it, but I don't really know much about it.
Basically, what it lets you do is set a portion of your income aside every month that is not taxed. And then you can in turn use that money to help pay for your daycare expenses.
Oh, okay.
So with that information, let's meet back. We'll talk about it again in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then we'll see what you came up with.
Okay. Perfect.
In this scenario, the nurse manager provided the employee with a corrective plan of action. He also let the employee know the consequences for not following the action. It's important for the nurse manager not to sound apologetic as to this will confuse the consequences.
Now, do you understand what we talked about? And do you have any questions for me, Allie?
No, I definitely understand what you're talking about, and I understand the seriousness, and thank you so much for being so understanding, and thank you for looking up all this research for me. I really am going to benefit from this. I'm going to take this home, look over it, decide my options, weigh my options, and look at my situation, and then I'll definitely get back to you with what I decide.
Okay, great. I'll tell you what, we'll meet again in 2 weeks, and we'll see what you came up with, all right?
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Finally, the manager has agreed upon the actions taken and has accepted a plan to be put in place. He voiced his genuine concern for the nurse's success. He allowed the nurse to realize that it's her behavior that's in question and not the nurse herself. He provides a role that it allows for a supportive and structured environment to aid in the development of change.
It's important for the disciplinary action to empower the employee to make changes that are necessary. This is done by clearly addressing the infraction, allowing employee feedback, setting up an action plan to correct this behavior, and then coming to agreement on this plan.
And action.
Not Chuck Norris!
Whoa, cut. This isn't the action flick with Chuck Norris next door.
Come on, man, I got the cool stuff.
I guess you guys want to know how we did all this cool stuff.
The green screen!
Action.
Nursing leadership is a big problem everywhere. And
Hey, I've got something I need to talk to you about. Do you have a moment?
Yeah, I don't have a patient for another 30 minutes or so.
Well, hey, great. Let's just use this exam room.
Okay. We're locked in. Ugh.
Narrator 7, action.
It's important for the disciplinary action to be structured to empower the employee to make the changes that are necessary. This is done by clearly addressing the infarction.
The heart attack.
He voiced his genuine concern that he wants to see the nurse succeed. Dang it.